Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and these are the all-new AirPods Max 2. They're $549, the same as before. If we flip it over here, you'll see it says AirPods Max 2, and they come in a few different colors. Midnight that we have here, Starlight, Blue, Purple, and Orange. I have the first generation to compare them with as well, where I had the Lightning version, but I never had the USB-C version. Let's go ahead and open it up. So we'll pull the pull tabs here. Let's flip it over. And you can see on the box here, it actually says Midnight, so it's the Midnight model, and they should be slightly different color than the ones I currently have, as those were space gray. Let's set the AirPods Max 2 aside, see what we get in the box here. So it says AirPods Max, it doesn't say AirPods Max 2, and you'll see it's just a quick start guide going over the buttons. We have quite a few different pamphlets in here, regulatory compliance, before using, and a 1-year warranty. Let's put these away. You'll see in the box we do get a USB-C to USB-C cable. It's not color matched, and we don't have a charger of any sort, but of course we can plug it into our different devices, charge it there. Let's set this aside. We'll package it back up and take a closer look at the AirPods. So let's set that aside. Here's the AirPods Max 2. We've got the sort of silly case, but it does work. So we'll open this up here. So there we are. We'll set that aside. Now, just to compare the colors here, this is Midnight versus Black or Space Gray. So there's a slight hue difference, especially on the AirPods themselves. Again, we'll compare them in a moment. Let's remove them from the case here. So we have the paper cups here. There we are, and these are the AirPods Max 2. They don't look any different. They actually are the exact same weight as the prior version, and if we compare them side by side here, so we'll take AirPods Max 1 out, compare them side by side, you'll see Midnight versus Space Black. So I really like the black color. I don't know why they didn't do that. So the new Midnight AirPods Max 2 sort of match the color of the MacBook Air M5 in Midnight. So that gives you a comparison there compared to the Space Black. Everything else is identical other than the color, all the button placement and everything else. And you can see that here. So all of the buttons are exactly the same. The only difference here at the bottom should be that we now have USB-C compared to Lightning. So again, you could have gotten the previous generation in USB-C as they released those not too long ago, but now we have AirPods Max 2. So there is no silver option, we just have Starlight, and so that's sort of how you know they're the new ones, but you can't really easily differentiate these between the ones with just USB-C, and then of course this version with the new chipset. Of course we have the ear cups that come out, just like that, and let's see if the others are compatible. So again, here's the right side ear cup. They should be the same. They should look pretty much the same, just have a slightly different color there. So everything looks the same here, and you could, in theory, use them. They're magnetic, and they just hold in place. Now, as far as what makes the AirPods Max 2 all new, what we have is the new H2 chipset in each ear cup. This is according to Apple, and then we have some sensors that we had before in the last generation. So basically, we have an optical sensor in each ear cup, position sensor in each ear cup, and a case detect sensor in each ear cup. Also, we have an accelerometer in each ear cup. However, we have a gyroscope in the left ear cup, and of course, the listening mode button that Apple calls it here, but this is only one, and they now call this listening mode button instead of noise control button. There's also 9 microphones total, 8 are used for active noise cancellation, 3 are for voice pickup, with 2 of those shared with the active noise cancellation, the same as before. It now uses Bluetooth 5.3 instead of Bluetooth 5.0 and has a custom high dynamic range amplifier. It's also the same weight like I mentioned before. So let's go ahead and place these back in and let's get them paired and see what they're like. So make sure we put them on the correct way, bring them over to our iPhone here, probably place them back in the case as we do have some new features that go along with that H2 chipset. So let's go ahead and take these back out. Hopefully it's charged a little bit. I did see the light come on before, but you will need iOS 26.4 to pair them. You'll see here, let's go ahead and tap connect, get them connected to our iPhone here. There we go. And you'll see it says noise control. So it says noise control, press the noise control button to switch between. Media call control, we can press that as well. Then we'll skip. And we have personalized volume. We can turn that on if we want or turn it off. And it says lower media volume when I start speaking. It has conversational awareness this time around. And it says control your AirPods by moving your head. So you can turn that on. And then also we now have live translation in beta. So we can set that up. So it says select the download languages. So English, and let's maybe do Spanish. We'll tap continue. And we also have lossless audio with USB-C. We had this before, but you can use this now. We'll tap continue, and you'll see they're at 84%. So all of the new features are not just active noise cancellation, but adaptive audio, conversational awareness, voice isolation, personalized volume, personalized spatial audio with head tracking, loud sound recognition, and adaptive EQ, and studio quality audio recording. So again, with that live translation. If we go into our settings here, you'll see Aaron's AirPods Max 2. And if we scroll to the bottom here, you'll see that we have a version number of 8E246. Now, before I test these out, there's actually an update that should bring these to 8E251. Apple doesn't say what they are, but I'll have to get these updated. But these are the settings that we have within our settings for button cycles between off, transparency, adaptive, and noise cancellation. And then, of course, you have your options such as even camera control here if you want to control your camera with it. So that's an option. And then personalized volume, conversational awareness, I normally turn off, and then adaptive audio, and you can customize adaptive audio so it responds to your environment and cancels or allows external noise. So I don't want it adaptive. I typically turn these off and then sort of have everything just canceled. Now I'll get these updated, but battery life is the same as before, 20 hours with active noise cancellation enabled, and Apple says 5 minutes of charge gives you 1.5 hours of listening, which is the same as the AirPods Max 1. So again, let me get them updated, then I'll listen to them, and then we'll compare them with the first generation. So I've listened to the AirPods Max for about a half hour on and off just to get an initial impression about them, and I instantly noticed the quality of the bass. It's definitely more pronounced, instruments definitely have better separation, and the overall sound is a different sort of sound profile than you might be used to. So there are some differences here. Some people may not like the sound, but I would say that it's cleaner and clearer, better defined mids, better vocals, better bass, and instantly recognizable more deep bass. Now, of course, it's analyzing everything in the music, adjusting that on the fly, and there is no active EQ. So that's one of the downsides of the AirPods Max, or really any Apple AirPods at all. You don't have a real EQ where you can adjust it for your taste. Now, the sound is great, it works great, and of course, it has active noise cancellation. Apple says it's 1.5 times better than before, and it definitely seems like it's a little bit better, but without taking them maybe on a plane for a trip, it's hard to say. But they say it's a little bit better. It should be a little better, just like AirPods Pro 3 are. When it comes to transparency, it's instantly noticeable that it's nice and clear, just like before, and those switching from AirPods Max 1 to AirPods Max 2 really won't see that much of a difference, I think, with transparency, but you do have the addition of all those extra features. So if you want to use live translation, or maybe you use it for phone calls a lot, you'll have, of course, that active noise cancellation and things like that, where it will help the user on the other end or the listener on the other end hear you a little bit better. With AirPods Max 2, I really think Apple should have taken the time to fix a few things. They're very nice quality, they feel very high-end, especially being made of aluminum or aluminium. The problem is they're quite heavy, so wearing them all day, they can become uncomfortable, and if you have a larger head, they sort of squeeze your ears quite a bit and can cause you to get maybe a headache, for example. So I find them to be comfortable for maybe a couple hours, but long term, I usually have to switch to something else. Also, the mesh on top, or what Apple calls the canopy, is very nice and very comfortable. The problem is it seems to lose its elasticity, especially if maybe you set it on something to hold your headphones. You don't use the case necessarily to just lay it down in, but instead maybe you put it on something to hold these. Typically, this will lose its elasticity. You can see that here. These are my AirPods Max, the ones I use the most, and it just has lost all of its elasticity. The problem with that is then you have these metal bars, they're rubberized or covered in silicone, and they're just resting on your head. So again, it makes it less comfortable. Of course, they certainly should have updated the case that we have here. I would have liked to see a different solution for that, but everything else feels very high quality. I think the design is fine, but again, it's just very heavy, so they could have maybe made some of the components lighter. When it comes to the extra features that we get, I think it's great that Apple's adding all the things that we get with AirPods Pro 2, with the exception of the heart rate monitor. But if we scroll down, you'll see call controls, camera remote, digital crown you can change, personalized volume, all of the different features that make them sound great and also give them those nice features. Of course, we have instant switching from the iPhone to the iPad, Apple Watch to the Mac. You can jump around easily from each device, and of course head detection and things like that. Personalized spatial audio is great, and I love to see that all these features have been brought to the AirPods Max 2. I'm just a bit disappointed for those that actually picked up the AirPods Max 1 with USB-C. Since it's not that long ago, they paid the same price, but they only get USB-C and not all the new features. The other thing is also the ear cups here. They seem to flatten out over time. So again, just like the canopy, they sort of squish down and lose some of their elasticity. They're very comfortable. You can replace them at least, but it is something that does sort of wear out over time. As far as anything else, well, I think the overall price is definitely a bit steep. And if you're wondering if you should upgrade maybe from AirPods Max 1 to AirPods Max 2, if you have the USB-C version, I would probably not do that unless you want one of the specific features that they upgraded to. If you have the Lightning version like I do, well, then they definitely seem to be worth the upgrade, especially as they wear out. You'll get some new features, you'll get a new sound profile and lossless audio easily through USB-C. Instead of using Lightning to USB-C, you just get a bunch of new features, and of course you'll get new updates with future features as well. So they're hard to recommend to someone that has regular AirPods, AirPods Pro 3, but I do like them quite a bit. They have lossless audio, true lossless audio connected through the cable, and of course they sound great. So hopefully that helps you decide if you want to pick some up, but let me know if you picked them up, if you did, what color you picked up, or what you use as your headphones, whether it's AirPods, something else from Sony, or any other headphone. Of course, I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do, and if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.